Whoops.
Okay, here we go. Now we're going live. I'm looking up the thing. The thing is not red. My mistake. I had a brain fart. We were broadcasting. I've been asking people to give me a thumbs up, and nobody gave me a thumbs up. The reason why you didn't give me a thumbs up because we weren't live. I apologize. Let us start over. Oops. And I'm glad I didn't see.
Yep, there you are.
There we go. So goodness gracious. So we must have lost some people, obviously, but now we are live. So let me start over. Welcome to now. Now we're gonna welcome the people to our Roundtable Wednesday. Apologize for the technical difficulty. It was all on me. So here's what I want to do. I want to go ahead and encourage you to go to our website for such a time as this .today. For such a time as this .today, we're starting 10 minutes late because I forgot to hit the go live button. Stare me right in the face. But go to our website for such a time as this .today. For such a time as this .today. There you can get our new materials and always stay connected because Big Brother is always censoring us. As I told you all, which I thought before I told you, but I wasn't live. We had a viral video that went just under 2 million. And it quadrupled our subscriptions. Quadrupled it. And we get less views now per video. We get less views. After we had a viral video that went 2 million, our subscriptions quadrupled. Before we had the viral video, a bad month for me, average month would be anywhere between 30 to 40. A bad month would be 25, 30. Okay, per month. Now, since we've had the viral video, now that we're on their radar, I've gotten about 12 subscriptions in about 4 months. I've gone about from 6 to about 12 in 4 months. So they are shadow banning us. Thank you, Jack. You know, and I even said, Jack, you're not out there because I didn't go live. So Jack is giving me a thumbs up. We are getting shadow banned, and that's fine. It's a badge of honor. So what we're going to do now is discuss the issue of Mr. Daunte Wright. Before we go forward, let me say flat out, it is sad that a young man of 20 lost his life. He's dead. His family's grieving. The community is grieving. And some has used that grief to promote violence. So let me play the intro from the 5, which every once in a while the 5 gets off a good story. Let me play this and we'll open up the discussion. Social justice for Daunte Wright. Here we go.
Minnesota bracing for a third night of unrest over the police shooting of 20-year-old Daunte Wright. And Brooklyn Center is going to have to manage the chaos without its police chief. The city's top cop resigning today, along with the female officer, Kim Potter, who fatally shot Wright. Fox News just learning that charges against Potter could come as soon as tomorrow. The mayor says the police chief stepping aside is a good thing and is trying to satisfy activists in the community.
I'm hoping that this will help bring some calm to the community. Although, I think ultimately people want justice. They want, full accountability. I don't believe that officers need to necessarily have weapons. Every time they're making a traffic stop.
There you go. Every time the police stops a car, they don't know who's in it, what's in it. They have no idea. They don't always need to have a weapon when they stop a car. Go on Google and type in police shootout with a traffic stop. Mm-hmm. You're going to get about 500 pages of it. Mm-hmm. That's ignorant. That's unbelievable.
I was going to say that wasn't the smartest thing he could have said, but you beat me to it.
You're nice. Not the smartest thing. It's unbelievable.
Well, that and he basically he fired the police chief. Why? Because he's trying to placate the mob.
Yeah.
You don't placate a mob.
Did he fire him or did he resign?
He didn't actually have the power to fire him. The city council. So the guy resigned. So somehow he ended up resigning.
The report is he was forced out. So I guess technically they couldn't fire him. But I mean, man, if the city council and the mayor is going after you, he resigned.
Nobody's backing you up.
No,
They have
nobody's
no
backing
support.
you up. Yeah. So, but
Why? Because of an accidental shooting, or what looks like an accidental shooting. And you're right, Pastor James. It's tragic. I mean, anytime, a human being dies, and especially when they die, obviously without Christ, and probably that was the situation here. From the way it looks, at least you will know them by their fruit. It's even more tragic. But it was not racism.
well, Abby, everybody else says it is on the news stations.
Yes,
Just because
I know.
everybody says it does not mean it's correct.
I'm just telling you what they said. That's what they
And
said.
that's what they normally say.
And it's just justice for Daunte Wright.
It's social justice.
Social
which
justice
is
for
not
Daunte Wright.
Yeah.
justice.
Not justice.
I've said this before. I'm waiting for, and there was one. There was such one. I'm waiting for the black man who dies when he's following the law.
That's the way it used to be. That's
Right.
why we have a history. The history is not because black men were not following the law and they paid the just consequences. It was because they were following the law
You're saying before.
before. This is not the case now. As a matter of fact, I have something right here I'd like to read.
Go ahead.
This is from the Veteran Times, which is not it's not a conservative publication. The editor of this publication, his name is, wait for it, James Dean. He wrote the following. First, he prefaced what he wrote with an editor's note. So this is all a quote. The guilt pie is going to get spread around on this tragedy. Actually, a manufactured one with multiple contributors. We have a mom giving him being Daunte, the car, 2 weeks ago with expired inspection tags that no one took responsibility for dealing with. That's number one. The 20-year-old, no mention of his employment, by the way, was with his, quote, girlfriend, unquote. And now we learn he already had a warrant out for missing a recent court appearance, facing 2 misdemeanor charges for carrying a pistol without a permit, and running from the police last year. Irresponsibility is just oozing out of this story in multiple places. Now, I'd just like to make a quick comment. Any of these items, 1, expired tags, 2, a warrant out for missing a court date, and in addition to that, 2 misdemeanor charges for carrying a pistol without a permit and running from the police last year. So apparently he got away. All of this was, anytime you get stopped, they already know who you're all about. So when he was stopped, and I actually overheard something about a broken tail light. They didn't need a broken tail light to stop this young man. So it was a legitimate stop. It seems him being on the lam was the kind of behavior that this mother felt deserved a reward by giving him a car. If I had this kid's rap sheet at 20, my mother would have had all of my stuff piled on the front yard with a quote,
I wouldn't have made it to 20.
"Get the hell out and don't come back" sign on it. She was a great communicator. I am sensing possibly a dysfunctional family here and a girlfriend that thinks having an immature 20-year-old as the father of your baby with an outstanding warrant a great catch. I suspect an issue of low self-esteem on her part and 2 kids mooching off 2 sets of parents with baby bait, a sad scenario we see played out over and over with 73% of children born out of marriage, sometimes 4 and 5 kids, the mothers being, quote, farmed, a term some black conservatives use to describe the malady.
Malady.
Thank you. The shooting female officer, a 26-year veteran who can't tell the difference between drawing a taser and her service revolver, was the final bad luck for Mr. Wright, who attempted to flee with his baby's mother in the front seat, endangering her to what would have been a dangerous chase, but he had done it before. More Daunte Wrights are being manufactured as I type, with family enablers, irresponsible and clueless as to accepting responsibility for the behavior, lost in some kind of mythical video game of escaping responsibilities via an irresponsible action hero, even endangering those around him. I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm not being cruel to Mr. Wright. He was being cruel to himself, his girlfriend, and his family, including his baby son. He was an accessory to his death, pure and simple. A totally avoidable incident if he had a head on his shoulders that had something in it. Fortunately, the looting by the angry community was modest this time. Only 2 stores, more anonymous innocents sacrificed to a young black man with no pride. The lawsuit money will ensure that mom and baby are well supported financially. I hope the son can escape the legacy that has claimed the futures of so many. Black Lives Matter needs to focus on how to stop the production of Daunte Wrights, the mothers, the girlfriends, the real fatherless babies, all of the enablers that contribute to the spiraling down of so many tragic ends.
Now, someone can say, Eric, that you are blaming Mr. Wright for his death. Are you blaming Mr. Wright for his death, for his own death?
The death occurred
Yes.
by the misuse of a weapon.
Yes.
The situation that caused the misuse of the weapon was his fault.
Yes. So whose fault is it ultimately?
That's debatable.
That's debatable. Let me tell you, you can say debatable. Here's my take. He had a warrant out for illegal use of a weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aggravated armed robbery.
Yeah, and did you read the account, how he and another gentleman trapped this woman in her account, and after they were kind enough, and what kind of women let these men stay at their house overnight? Well, anyway, I don't know what's going
You're
on
right.
there. But here's my thing. He had as an active weapon a warrant for illegal weapons charge. I saw his Facebook page video as he's smoking weed and flashing a gun. Okay,
I saw that too.
the police knew he had a warrant out for illegal weapons.
Wait,
Bricks, go ahead.
you missed something. He was released after the aggravated armed robbery. He was released on $100,000 bail.
Yeah,
as
February,
a
right?
condition of his. Actually, I didn't. Yeah, that looks about right. As a condition of his release, he had to refrain from drugs and alcohol and could not possess a firearm. And then in June, he fled from police after being caught with a gun
2020, right?
without a
2020.
permit. Yes, last
Paid
June.
$150,000.
$100,000.
Bond, which means he's
Which, yeah,
10,000. Yeah,
it was 10.
yeah.
That's
Which
a lot
is-
of money still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have given money for that.
Well, he did it. Somebody did it. Go ahead, Abby.
So then in July, his bail was revoked because he allegedly possessed a firearm, which you just confirmed because he was on Facebook with the drugs and the gun, and he was not keeping in touch with his probation officer.
Which they put out a warrant February of this year, right? There was they had an active warrant out because of he did not keep in contact with probation officer February of this year.
I'm not sure.
That's why it was an active warrant.
Well,
so
yes, at
he
some
knew he
point
was going to jail.
Right, and he had already fled from police.
So,
Remember?
Yeah, but here's my thing though. When they ran his name,
Right.
they knew one of his issues was illegal firearm.
Yeah.
I'm not letting you get back in your car if I'm a police.
No.
And I know you have a history of illegal weapons.
No.
So here's my thing. She, from the video, made a mistake by pulling the taser. A good argument could be made. She should have been pulling for no taser.
Right.
If I'm the police and I know you are
Pulling for a
illegal
gun.
weapons, I'm lighting you up before you get to your car because I know what I got in my car. And I know a lot of people who are at least got in their car. And it was perfectly well reasoned out what he had in his car. And so again, no one is saying
No one's saying that.
no one's saying that. No one's defending the police here. Saying she had every right to defend herself from a young man who has a history of illegal weapons, who broke out of police custody and got in his car.
I don't understand.
But let me say this before. I'm not saying I'm happy he's dead. I'm not saying that it's gleeful. What I am saying is, I think that police woman had a right to defend herself from someone who was actively breaking the law, had a warrant out, and broke away and got in his car, which if I'm the policeman, I'm lighting you up because I want to go home.
I'm with you.
And I take no joy in that. But it seems, again, is that there's no responsibility being put on the young man
The police are
who
always
caused this.
wrong,
Always wrong.
and the dead person is always right. No, regardless of what happened, every single time, that is the narrative.
It's the narrative. And so how is this being used? It's being used because no one wants to deal with the facts of the case. And so politicians are now using this to condemn the entire system that we have here in the United States of America. And here we are, the wise, the all-knowing, humble representative to lead.
And a radical squad member facing blowback for adding fuel to the fire with an unhinged tweet demanding we abolish the police. Rashida Tlaib saying, quote, "It wasn't an accident. Policing in our country is inherently and intentionally racist. Daunte Wright was met with aggression and violence. I am done with those who condone government-funded murder. No more policing, incarceration, and militarization. It can't be reformed."
It can't be reformed.
The system.
Yeah, if you can't reform the system.
What do you do?
Wait, who? How does she know it was an accident? She's
Because
in
whenever
Michigan.
a police kills a black man,
Right.
Lisa Joy, it's racism.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? There's an elephant in the room, and we're going to have to address the elephant.
Who is it?
The elephant is the fact that the majority of the people in this country, in this particular situation, side with the police. Now, and if you don't believe me, look at what happened last year after George Floyd's murder. Minneapolis decided to, in fact, defund the police. And it was followed by massive crime.
Still going on.
Okay, so that does not work under any. It does not work. So you get rid of the police. Police have a better idea than social workers. Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah. Just
Come on.
yeah. So
Come on, Prof. Eric.
I'm just saying because it doesn't work. And number one, and the first thing I said when my wife and I talked about this, was somebody did not tell that young man how to deal with the police. Now I understand why that didn't happen.
No, somebody did. They told him to be disrespectful to the police.
No.
Don't follow the police instructions. He learned it from somewhere.
That's the
saying?
basis of being irresponsible. You're doing what you feel you should do regardless of what realism is. So he figured he could just do whatever he wanted to do.
But
He had already run from them once.
And got
And
away
gotten
with
away.
it. So he figured he could do
Someone
it again.
paid his bond.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
yeah. So but look at how it's being used. Rashida Tlaib, this is a congresswoman. She is a ruler of our nation. She is one of 435 rulers in the House of Representatives. It wasn't an accident.
Rulers, but she's supposed to represent the people. And she's not representing people.
Well, she
might be
you
representing
know what,
some
Lisa
people
Joy,
on that.
Lisa, she won re-election less than 6 months
Did
ago.
she?
Hey,
know?
wait.
Everything
How
is
do you
up for
know?
grabs
Yeah,
now.
give me a break. Don't go with that election.
Well,
because
she's in office. Let's
she's
just put
in
it that way.
office. What? But cheated with hers
system,
too.
The system put her in office.
Okay.
However crazy the system
Yeah,
is.
please.
Before
Don't say
November, I
elected.
would have
That
agreed with you,
is
but
a
now
rabbit
I have
hole.
no idea.
I know they've been
That is
stealing
a
for years.
rabbit hole.
They've been stealing. They've been stealing it for years. Well, put it this way. Okay, even before so she's in office.
That's why I said elephant in the room.
For whatever reason, Minnesota keeps putting her in.
Wait, who?
The state
Or
of Minnesota.
Dominion.
Tlaib.
The
Talib-
state of Minnesota.
No,
Yeah.
no. Talib's in Michigan.
She's in
She's
Michigan.
not
that's
even
right.
there.
She's not
All right,
even
she's
in
in
Yeah,
Michigan.
you're talking
That's
about
why I'm
Omar.
saying.
Omar. That's the
Omar
other
hasn't
one,
said anything
Yeah, that's the
yet.
one, Omar.
She's got other things she's got to be worried about.
She's a
No.
ruler. She's a ruler. It wasn't an accident. Policing in our country is inherently and intentionally racist. It's racist.
It was racism.
Yeah. Daunte Wright was met with aggression and violence. I am done with those who condone government-funded murder.
This was a murder.
This
Okay,
according-
to her, it was murder.
Okay, can you help me with something?
Yeah.
I didn't see the video yet. How was he approached?
Should we play the video?
Yes.
You didn't take long.
Yeah, bring it on.
All right. Let's
Roll tape.
I didn't
let's
see it
let's
either.
play. You didn't play it. You didn't see it either.
No, we don't watch the news.
All
It's
right.
all bad news, anyways.
All
It's
right.
all lies.
Here we
Well, we
Here
actually
we-
do watch the news. Just
here we go. So there you go. Yeah, it's a black policeman. He drove off. He crashed
Yes,
further down.
He drove away.
He got in the car and he
drove
drove
away.
off. He got in the car and drove off.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, and Jack is right. Look what Jack says. Jack says there are millions and millions of annual police citizen contact in a given year. The fact that such incidences don't happen more often is a grace of God. I don't know what IMHO means. I don't know, Jack. I'm not up on that lingo, but he
Laughed my head off.
left my head off.
No. I am.
I think it's an L.
Was that an L?
in my humble opinion.
In my humble opinion.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. We got two acronyms for
Humble opinion, yeah, in my humble opinion. So, but it's being used. I honestly don't believe. Look at it again. Daunte Wright was met with aggression and violence. I'm done with those who condone government-funded murder.
so
No more policing, incarceration. So if there's no more incarceration, tell me how that works. No more policing. Show me which community wants to end the policing. You're right, Eric. Nobody agrees with that.
No.
No more police incarceration or militarization. It can't be reformed. The lady made a mistake. Okay, she, by her own admission, she meant to tase him. Okay, how do you fix it? How do you fix it to where police are perfect in everything they do?
You don't.
You can't. It's unrealistic. And Jack is absolutely right. If you've got millions and millions of police contact, the fact that only 9 died in 2020, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is less. That's
It is.
0.00001%. And again, it's sad. It's unfortunate. It's not a good thing. But how much blame does Mr. Wright take?
A lot.
I mean, it's just
That
it's unbelievable to
That
me.
scuffle would not have happened if he had continued to allow himself to be handcuffed. Period. Dot. There would have been no violence, and there would have been no aggression, which, quite frankly, there was none. There was no aggression, and there was no violence. They were
Oh.
trying to.
You mean
Towards him.
besides the shooting? You mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
if he had-
the shooting was a shooting. I mean, if you want to
Yeah.
define that as violence, so be it. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But the violence started with him resisting and getting his hand free
Yeah.
and getting back in the car.
Yeah. With a weapons charge. They should.
They didn't know where that weapon was. They didn't know if he had
And
a weapon
shame
or
on that
not.
mayor. Shame
Oh,
on
my
that mayor.
goodness. That's the
That
part
that
really
actually
got me.
that's what gets me with these situations. When you have crimes and things going on and we are making excuses, that's why we have problems with our kids. You know, years ago, if we got in trouble at school, our parents didn't say, go in there and get mad at the teachers. They said, what did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do? Now, you'd had teachers that take advantage and weren't very kind and were not fair, but you had them for 1 year and then you moved on.
That was the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah, we had a few of them. I mean, I could have marked them, but you know what? It's crazy because nowadays the parents are in there complaining about the teachers.
Yeah,
Authority has been broken down.
true.
Authority is not even respected.
It's the morals. I think it's the morals of our culture
Yes.
from top to bottom.
It is. I
You know,
agree.
because there's some teachers that I would not extend my authority to. But anyway, it's how it's being used. Again, here's what Satan is doing. I said it's Satan. I think the enemy who's destroying our country.
Yes.
They're creating an impossible standard. Do you know what the standard is for police? Perfection.
Yes.
Perfection. Perfection. Now, Mr. Wright, he can make all the mistakes in the world. He can fight police. He can not show up for court. He can have bails. He can have active warrants. He can actually be guilty of robbing people. He can be on Facebook with a gun and smoking a blunt. He can even drive off. See, that's fine.
You're
But
you're
police
blaming the
have to be
victim.
perfect.
But Pastor,
Mm-hmm.
we got to give all the glory to God. And I say this because his word is 100% accurate. Daunte Wright did everything you said. And Daunte Wright did everything you said. However, there is still a standard. And even though the police, he got away from the police. Actually, he got away twice. He didn't get away from God, though. Scripture still says, be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So a lot of this has to go toward Mr. Wright. I'm sorry.
Okay. I want to interject something here too because I'm working on the whole critical race theory thing and the whole critical theory, doing a lot of research. And one of the things that they say is part of whiteness are cause and effect relationships. Yes.
Who
This is
said that?
part of whiteness.
Who said that?
The critical theorists, and critical race theory is
And I'm
one.
sure they have
I'm
proof of
still
this.
I'm
They have
still
proof of
waiting.
this too, right?
I'm still waiting for something accurate to come out of that whole
You
theory.
will
Wait, that's white. What? Say that again. That's white culture.
cause
Cause and
and
relationship.
effect
effect.
relationships.
Who said that?
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to
Cause and
run that
effect.
down, but yes. I think it was part on that African American museum that was part of the Smithsonian
Blame it all
when they
on
had
us.
the portal where about whiteness, and they had a whole bunch of things that they listed were whiteness. Cause and effect relationship is you shall reap what you sow. Right?
That's universal, number one.
Of course, but
And
no,
and
it's
number
part
two,
of whiteness.
That's insulting.
That it
is.
You have no idea how insulting critical theory is, and particularly critical race theory. It is absolutely. It's not even facts, data, reason, logic. Those are part of whiteness. Blacks have telling their stories. That's how blacks know things.
Come on.
I'm not.
So
I'm
that
not
implies
exaggerating.
That's the only way we can learn things by
Yes.
hearing a story.
So if you jump off of a
The
10-story
devil is a
building,
lie.
there's no cause and effect if you're a black man. If you jump off a 10-story building, there's no cause and
look,
effect.
Because we'll live to tell a story.
They don't believe
That person
in
ain't gonna live to
logic
tell a story.
and reason, so you can't even have the discussion with them.
Are you
I'm not.
can't have discussion
exaggerating.
with critical
Critical theorists.
Yeah, you got to show me that. Show me the person that actually is pushing that nonsense and saying that blacks don't believe in cause and effect. That's not an attribute of black culture. Listen. I'm not doubting you. I just never heard that. That is beyond belief. But you know what?
Okay, you know what?
Go ahead.
Well, Terry's an expert at this stuff.
Well, I'm getting to be, unfortunately.
Maybe.
No, that's okay. But so here's how it's also used. It is so absurd. Let me listen to Richard Fowler, who is a commentator on Fox News, about how deep the racism runs with the police. Watch this.
What the black community is asking for is not to abolish or to defund the police. What we're asking for is the police to actually protect and serve our communities. What happens oftentimes what we feel when police come into our communities is that the police are terrorizing our communities, just like we saw what take place in the video that came out a couple of days ago from Windsor, Virginia, where this military individual was harassed for no reason besides the fact that he had a temporary tag. He was maced for asking simple questions like, why are you stopping me? This type of behavior is why when we have interactions with police, we are scared, we are fearful for our lives, and that's why we're asking for reform. So if we really want to stop peaceful protesting in the streets, let's deal with the base root of the problem. How do we reform policing so that everybody feels the same way when they have interactions with police?
Was he scared of the black officer that was there?
Whether it's a black officer or a white officer,
It's
black
still racist.
people's interactions with police are the same.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So
Whether it's a black officer or a white officer, it's the same, y'all.
Greg
So
said, okay,
do you
I
see,
got
it
you.
doesn't matter.
Right,
It
because
doesn't
you are
matter.
a policeman before you are black, and besides this, none of this is really about racism anyway.
What
which
is it about,
the big
Abby?
problem. It's about tearing the system down.
Exactly.
That is the goal.
No, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're right.
Racism is a means to an end.
What was this little 12, 13-year-old girl that just died in Chicago, shot in her head in the last week? You remember that? That's 2 or 3 weeks. She was 13. I think it was Chicago.
You talking about? I thought it was a little boy.
Was it a little boy?
Was it shot by the police or shot by somebody else?
Oh, no, he was shot in the hood. He was shot in the hood.
That's why I don't know about it.
No, nobody marched.
No.
Nobody marched.
And that was my anger last year.
Black Lives Matter don't care.
There was a little boy who was shot in a car. Little boy. He was a baby. He was
a
1
baby.
year old. He was shot in his mama's arms in a
I
car.
remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Black Lives Matter went to this woman's home and told her
Oh, I
to
remember that.
pipe down because that instance did not match their narrative. They had the nerve
Can you
and their
imagine?
audacity to do that. That's why you cannot tell me anything about Black Lives Matter, because to Black Lives Matter, Black lives don't matter.
Right.
Glenn Bruce, whites reason, blacks emote. And that is the emote. Let me give you the definition of emote. It says, especially as an act to portray emotion in theatrical manner. That is what they're saying. I mean, that
Yes,
that is what
the
they're
claim.
doing.
That's how blacks know things.
That is so. Who,
No,
get me that question. I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying, for somebody to say that just.
Yes, by storytelling. Yes,
Openly.
absolute logic.
I'm offended by these comments.
It's horrible.
You're offended.
It's absolutely horrible.
But it's a fraud. The whole thing is a fraud. They're the glorious leader of the Black Lives Matter movement.
That just bought 3 houses
I heard it was 4. I think it's 4. They
Was it
showed
4?
they showed pictures of 4 houses.
and a hangar for an airplane.
Or maybe that was the
Are you
4th
serious?
one. I thought
yeah,
I
I'm
thought it was
serious.
4.
One had a hanger.
And-
airplane
but that,
hanger,
you
yes.
know what? That's fine. If she would have simply bought it in the glorious black neighborhoods.
No.
She bought it in the devil's neighborhood.
No, it's
according
not
to
good.
her.
Wait, it's
I don't
not-
care
According to
whose
her
neighborhood
thing.
it was.
It's not. He's
They
not
gave
good at
that
any.
money
That
to
was money
Black
from Black
Lives
Lives
Matter.
Matter.
I know.
She got that.
She took it.
She is Black Lives Matter.
Okay,
Catrice,
you know what? No.
Patrice,
No.
yeah.
Patrice Colors. She's Black Lives Matter.
No.
She got her money, her hands on it to buy 4 of them. But my point is, she didn't buy
Their
it
socialism at its best.
it's just so.
Okay.
She didn't buy it in black neighborhoods. She bought them in white neighborhoods.
Can
That's how much she think of
Yeah.
whites.
Yeah,
There's so much devil she wanna live with them.
can I say something, please?
Yeah.
I need to say 2 things for the record. I am a proud black man. I'm not one of these guys or gals who has decided, as I heard on a recent communique, that out of all the things that he is, being black is kind of like down on the list. No, I am black.
Yeah, I saw that. That's
and
one thing I didn't
I'm-
agree with that,
Right.
yeah.
I'm black and I'm proud. That's number 1. Number 2, though, is what I have learned in my life is God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So if he said something in 1681, it's still true. The truth of today does not apply to God's law and what God has said. Now, I want to say that as a foundational point.
Say that again. Say that last sentence again. The truth of what?
The truth of today which has changed over the years.
Oh, what they call truth, you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's why I said the truth of today.
Yeah, the popular
Gotcha.
wisdom.
Because the
Gotcha.
truth of today,
Gotcha.
watch this, the truth of today isn't,
It's a lie.
okay?
Yeah.
So when we hear these things, they bother me.
Yeah.
They should bother you. This is.
But
Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to bring another topic up here.
Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
So, as bad as all this has been, we've got the city council in Brooklyn Center.
Yep. They're wise and they're smart, so watch what you say.
Oh, my goodness. So, the city manager, Kurt Boganey, was fired on Monday night, just one day after Daunte was shot. He was what was he fired for? He was fired because he said that the police officer would get due process. Yes. The mob demanded his head.
We are in trouble.
They are in
They
trouble.
are in trouble.
That better not happen in our town.
As a culture, we are in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a
Yes.
culture, we are.
And so one of the council members said this. She voted to remove the city manager because she feared for her property and retaliation by protesters if she had voted to keep him. He was doing a great job. I respect him dearly. I just didn't want repercussions at a personal level.
Cowards.
Oh
Yep.
my goodness. What are you doing in a position of leadership if you have a spine made of jelly?
Abby.
Oh, my
That's the
goodness.
U.S. Congress. What are you talking about?
No. This is the city council.
No, I'm telling you,
Oh,
U.S.
yeah,
Congress
you're right.
Well,
are looking for spines also.
as well as the
Yes, you're
Supreme
right.
Court.
They're not looking for them.
No, the,
Yes, you're right.
They lost.
Yeah.
no, it's not Supreme
We
Court.
have
They're
an
evil.
we have an
No, they're evil.
epidemic of cowardice.
No, I think to get the Supreme Court, you got a spine. You just got an evil heart, a black heart. Those are people that just. I think you can hide in the Congress. You can't hide on the Supreme Court, and I could be wrong. Maybe it is a lot of fear, but most of the people in Congress, I don't know. I don't put it past anybody. Maybe they all just blinded. Just so incredibly blinded.
I think that a number of them believe if they get on the right side, they will be on the side of the power. It has nothing to do with right or wrong. They want to be on the side.
The winning side?
With the power. They want to be able to keep their Dove ice cream in their freezers. They want to be able to call the shots. They want to be able to keep all of the money. That's why a lot of this is happening.
One of my favorite proverbs. It's a Roman proverbs. A coward dies 1,000 times. A man dies but once.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine living life always afraid of everything I say, everything I do. What's the point of living?
I'm not even done. I got
Okay,
another one.
Go ahead.
Okay, so then the city council passed a resolution banning crowd control tactics by the police.
Wait.
So they have a mob outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've set up these fences, and the mobs are threatening to push over the fences. And I don't know if anybody saw any of the video. They're on top of police cars, jumping up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a riot. These aren't peaceful protesters,
They should all
right?
be arrested.
Well, they ended
You're
up arresting 40, but the city council banned the use by police of rubber bullets, tear gas, and a tactic known as kettling, which is just police lines to corral protesters.
How do you stop it then?
Okay.
The resolution also included chokeholds. Then, I'm still not done.
Wait. What was the chokeholds? They couldn't do chokeholds?
Couldn't do any of it.
Okay.
No tear gas, no rubber bullets.
That changed, though.
No police lines.
Okay, go ahead.
And then they approved a resolution to address security for city council members. Okay, now I'm done.
What was the resolution
Yeah,
involving?
what was the resolution?
Who cares?
No, I think they probably
Yeah, I'll
assigned
tell you-
some police.
Now, I'll tell you what
to
it
their
is.
house.
Well,
Here's what they
yes,
said.
of
Here's what they
course.
said. You can't do ABC when the crowds, but when you're protecting city council, you can do A, B, C, D.
Right.
That's what's going on. But again, common sense is no longer common in nowadays, and it is. Okay, how do we get out of this mess? How does this story end? How does it end?
I got another one.
Go ahead.
It just gets worse. Okay, shortly before they appeared before the media, Floyd's girlfriend, who testified, we're talking about
George Floyd.
George Floyd.
Okay.
His girlfriend, who testified in Chauvin's murder trial, walked over to console Wright's mother. Say his name, they chanted, in between tears.
Here we go.
That's Satan, period.
Here we go.
That's Satan, period.
Alive and
There we
well
go.
and at work
That's it.
in
Here
we
Brooklyn
go.
Center.
There we go.
Minneapolis.
There we go. All right.
I do know one thing.
Let's wrap it up. Go ahead.
We talked about Marxism earlier. We
Yeah.
talked about socialism.
Yeah.
If we're going to tell the truth, we've got to get to where the root is and where the foundation is. And that's what's going on. We keep complaining and being bewildered because things are happening and they're not matching up to our democratic republic society environment. Well, the reason they're not, because this is socialism. The reason you can have a leader of a movement that, because of someone's death and the response to it, raised $90 million, and it was not equally distributed.
Who had the 90 million?
All Black Lives Matter.
Oh, okay.
And it went fundamentally all to the leader. Was not distributed
That's
to the
best
various.
GoFundMe page.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it was not.
But that's socialism, Eric.
I know that. I absolutely know. I get
Yeah.
that now.
Yeah.
That's socialism. The few get all of the perks, and the masses don't get anything. And because we are a lazy, lackadaisical society full of sheep, unless
you
it
was gonna say
slaps
something else.
them.
Yeah, I thought you was about to say something else.
And we're not prepared
No.
for that with our mixer.
No, I
Okay,
No.
I got it.
Okay.
You scared us there. But
yeah,
okay.
well, no.
So go ahead. Finish. I'm sorry, you finished.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I'll stop now.
Okay. The fact that Patrice Cullors did what she did should be the cornerstone reason. It should be very obvious. She's a fraud. The whole movement's a fraud. They don't care about black people. It's about Marxism, socialism, and the socialists took y'all money and took y'all chance, and you're marching, and she cashed it in. 4 houses. I still can't figure out why people spend so much money on 4 houses. You can only live in one at a time. But they spend all that money. But anyway, that should tell people she's a fraud. She's a fraud.
Yeah.
The movement's a fraud. But it's not about black lives. And that's what's so sad.
That's
So it's not about black lives. She can care less about black lives. Clean up Chicago. Clean up the west side of
And
Chicago
I
first.
still see signs all over. People make their own signs.
Yep.
There's one down a very, very well-tracked road in my hometown, and it is on wood. It's burned with the fist and everything, and I always want to stop and say, do you know what this stands for?
They might be socialists.
I don't think so. I think some of the people, especially the white neighborhoods that have it all over, because these are not black people, they are just doing it to show that they're in solidarity. And I go, you know what they're in solidarity with?
Slitting your throat. That's what they're in solidarity with.
Yeah.
Because if you keep going with this,
Yeah, it's
Useful
gonna-
idiots.
Yeah.
sooner or later, you're going to reap what you're sowing.
Yeah.
And when misguided youth start killing people simply because of the color of their skin, their white skin, they're going to start looking around saying, what's going on? What? We don't understand. You just fed the lie that you are somehow evil because of the color of your skin. Why are you afraid when people want to start taking out evil? You agreed to it. It doesn't, for the life of me, and I've said this before, I don't understand why the white community is buying into this. Not all, obviously, but the white liberal. I don't get it.
The people from the pictures of the riot, it's whites and blacks, lots and lots and lots of whites. Just FYI.
I don't get it. Eric?
I don't either.
Last year, most of the riots in the big cities, the people that were doing most of the damage were white.
Yeah.
Okay, that's number one. But here's number two. This happened last night. Now, I don't know what city it was. Apparently, it wasn't Brooklyn Center, but I thought it was somewhere up there in Minnesota. The police fought back. I don't know what city it was.
I thought it was Brooklyn Center.
Yeah, I thought it was, but
They were fighting back.
they came after.
They had
yes,
a curfew.
They
The curfew was put in place.
Yep.
And they
They
were fighting
broke
back.
it
They were
the night
They
running
ran.
after.
They were
I was
saying,
like-
"Move."
We were like,
I was out.
Western.
My mouth dropped.
I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
Now, in
Well,
response,
can't you do that now?
No, they won't
What-
show it on the news.
in response to that, BLM demanded that the white folks
Be in
go
the
up
front.
in the front as a shield.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you're gonna be stupid enough to keep listening to him, go ahead and do it. Then you're gonna keep listening to him. Go ahead.
I don't know
It's
if it
stupid.
happened, but that's what the
It's
thing
stupid.
said.
Survival of the fittest.
Yes, survival of the fittest. Go ahead.
Sure did.
Go ahead. You big dummy.
Dummies.
big dummy,
Yeah,
yeah.
you big
But-
dummy.
But let me make the Christian angle very clear. This is not normal stupidity. I keep saying this. People aren't normally this stupid. This is a deluding spirit that I think spoken of in Thessalonians. Because this is not normal stupidity. And here's why I say this. If you look at history is a great teacher. At no point did the Romans believe that it was evil to be Roman. They were conquered from without. At no point did the Greeks buy into any ideology that it was wrong to be Greek. The Persians. Go down the list. Why is it in America that people are adopting an ideology that is damning themselves? I don't get it. I don't understand it, other than it is a spirit of delusion. I think the enemy, Satan, has been given power to deceive and to rip this country apart, because I think it's going to feed a larger narrative worldwide. That's just me. That's the only thing that makes sense. Nothing else makes sense to me. Nothing. But it is what it is. We are where we are. Christ is in control. We must stay clear of the foolishness and cling to him. Read his word. Because I think the deception is only going to grow. And I think the compliance to lies are only going to grow. And we Christians need each other.
Live not by lies. Solzhenitsyn.
Live not
That's
by
what he
lies.
said. Just in our own modest way,
Yeah.
live according to the truth.
Yeah.
And that's how he sought to interrupt the system.